This is Pocket Watching with JT, the call-in financial talk show focused on helping you get your money right. Jason Thornton is a certified financial planner, licensed in both tax and investments. Now, this is not personal financial advice. This is JT's real reaction to all your money and business questions. Are you deep in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and looking for a way out? Call Pocket Watching with JT, the financial advisor for the people. Need more? Book your personal consultation with my man JT at PocketWatcher.net. Now, let's go Pocket Watching.
Pocket Watchers, welcome to Pocket Watching with JT. I am certified financial planner Jayson Thornton. I am a financial advisor that specializes in tax and wealth planning for my clients. But on YouTube, I react to bad financial advice, to scammer news, and your money questions. And tonight, I think it's time for us to do an update on what I consider one of the worst investment opportunities for the Black community in decades, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. All right, and I will not be alone. I have my brother Eli from What Happened to Common Sense. He will be joining me shortly. I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to the over 83,000 of you who have subscribed to my channel. I appreciate it. Do me the favor as you make your way into the live stream, hit the like button, share this content. And if you haven't subscribed by now, wait to the end of the video and we'll see if we've earned you subscribing. Let's take a look at it. Let's see. All right, so let's get straight into it, people. What are we talking about? Let's put it on the big screen here. Here he is. Swaggy, rich, Mr. Jermaine Morrison. All right, goes by Jay. His legal name is Jermaine. Jermaine is a nice enough name. I don't know why he always, drops the rest of his name and just says Jay. Even on legal documents, he likes to put Jay, but his name is Jermaine. And we're going to have a conversation about his investment fund. All right. Many of you are aware, but some of you may not be. It is the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Now, I could describe it in many colorful ways. I could be a little petty in the way that I describe his fund. But instead of using my pettiness, I'm actually going to allow Jay Morrison to describe what the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is. Here we go.
They say if you build it, they will come. Well, our time is here. We've built the economic vehicle for the revitalization of the urban community. A transparent and regulated fund built on the mission to stop gentrification, to allow us to pool our resources, our talents, and treasure together, to rebuild our communities, to support one another, to share in the risk, to share in the profit, to share in the legacy of the 21st century Black Wall Street and this 21st century real estate fund for us and by us. This is the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Join us.
All right, now I want to make sure you're aware that was not a music video that you just saw. But believe it or not, that was not some sort of hip hop music video. That was actually a video promoting an investment fund. That's what you just saw, presented by Jay Morrison and his team. All right, so that's what he says the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is supposed to be. Now, I've got many questions, and we're going to go over some things. I want to bring you up to date to how we got here, and then I want to bring up my brother. But let's just take a look at this together real quick. What is the Tulsa Real Estate Fund? What is it? Well, I'm going to use his own words and language to help figure it out. I'm taking out little pieces of his filings with the SEC. So as you can see here, this comes directly from one of the filings that Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund filed with the government, with the SEC. And it says that, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund LLC is a limited liability company organized July 2016. Pay attention to the dates, people. July 2016. It goes on to say, we operate under the direction of Mr. Jay Morrison, who is our managing member of Tulsa Founders LLC. So it seems as if it's very, very heavy on Jay Morrison. A lot of this depends on his ability to be the real estate mogul that he claims to be. All right, so let's just take a look at what his responsibilities are with this fund. Based on their filing, pay attention, there's no trickery here. I'm not playing any type of mind games here. I want you to see what they put. This is what they filed with the SEC. These are the roles that Jay Morrison plays with this fund. It says that Jay Morrison, at the age of 36, back in 2018, I believe, when this came out. Jay Morrison, at the age of 36, he is the chief executive officer. Not only that, he is also the chief financial officer. He's also the chief operations officer. And last but not least, he's also the chief technology officer of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Now, that sounds like a lot for one man to do. I'm not going to be bashful about this. It seems a little hard for one man at the age of 36 to wear all of these different hats for an investment fund that is supposed to stop all of the ills, it feels like, of the Black community. It was going to be a source of generational wealth, of building of communities, all of these things on the shoulders of one man, 36. All right, well, let me not hate on the brother. Let's take a look at his bio. This is the bio that he gives in the filings with the government. Let's take a look at his qualifications here. It says, Mr. Morrison is a successful real estate developer, celebrity realtor, author, TV personality, entrepreneur, and one of my favorite, social activist. High quality right there. Social activist. Okay. It goes on to say, despite being a high school dropout, an at-risk youth, and three, not one, not two, but three-time felon, Jay made a major life transformation for the better over a decade ago that not only made him a millionaire before the age of 30, but also propelled him into national spotlight. He goes on to say that Mr. Morrison worked for Prominent Properties Sotheby's International Realty between 2008 and 2013. Now, if I was just the average person reading that bio, I'd be impressed. Listen, if you're a person who is not used to reading resumes, combing through people's bios, you would believe that that is a very impressive resume. But I don't think so. And here's why. Here's one of the reasons why I don't think his resume is quite where it should be. So one of the last things in that bio, it talks about a particular employer he had. He worked for a internationally known luxury real estate realty company. Here's my problem with that. I just want to show you. Here's my issue with him highlighting that he worked for this particular company. While I'm aware that Sotheby's is a big time brand, huge brand to work for, my issue is if you simply search for this video on YouTube, ex-coworker surviving Jay Morrison, if you just Google search or YouTube search this video, you will hear, allegedly, from a coworker of Mr. Jermaine Morrison while he was working at this real estate company that he promoted very big in his resume. This coworker says that he simply did not walk away from the company, that he was fired from the company. Not only was he fired from the company that he has in his bio, he never sold a home, allegedly, while working for the company as a real estate agent. Seems like a red flag to me. Seems like a red flag to me. The bio seems a little light. You're talking about a company that you worked for, but you were fired from, and you never actually sold a home while working for the company, allegedly. Okay. All right. I got one more big red flag I want you to see. One more big red flag. Now, earlier I told you to pay attention to something here, right? I want you to see how this is a letter from the SEC. Apparently, the SEC, they were not impressed by Mr. Jermaine Morrison's bio either. That apparently, this is what it looks like. The SEC was not impressed by the bio. Let me show you. In this letter from the SEC to Jay Morrison, it says that you state that the members of management, which is only Jay Morrison, apparently. If you look at it, Jay Morrison is the CEO, the CFO, the COO, and the CTO. I just showed y'all that. This is what the SEC says. The SEC says, you state that the members of management have not conducted similar programs to the one contemplated by the offering circular. Basically saying that your team members, the management, they have no real relevant experience to the things you're saying you want to do with this investment fund. They're saying, please advise whether the members of your management have conducted any programs investing in real estate. As you see, the SEC, they were not impressed by the bio. Now, this is a great question. Does anyone in the management team, which is really just Jay Morrison himself, does he have any documented proof of any kind of real estate investing that would be relevant to starting a real estate investment fund? That is a great question by the SEC, and I believe I have an answer. Right here, you can see this appears to be a deal that Jay Morrison had in real estate. It was a deal between him, Jermaine D. Morrison, and a man by the name of Michael Avant. In this deal, as you can see, this is court paperwork, so obviously something went wrong. In this deal, these are the things that were stated. It says that the debtor, now the debtor is Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison sold the house for $533,000 without the plaintiff, which is Michael, without Michael's knowledge or consent and kept all the proceeds of the sale. It goes on to say that the plaintiff, which is Michael, filed a civil suit against Jermaine D. Morrison, for multiple theories of fraud. All right. Well, what happened? What happened? He says that Michael sued Jay over multiple theories of fraud in this real estate deal that they had together, a real estate investment. All right. It says a judgment for $200,000 were entered against Jay Morrison, February 2009. So it seems as if he lost that lawsuit. If you're ever in a lawsuit with someone and the court puts a judgment on you, meaning that you owe some sum of money. Now, I'm not a big fancy attorney, just a humble financial advisor from a little country town. But I believe that means you lost the lawsuit. That's what I think. You lost the lawsuit. All right. But I want you to see how far Jermaine J. Morrison, how far he went to not pay his business partner, according to this document. Now, remember, they went into a business deal together to sell a home. It says that Jermaine sold the home for over $500,000. He did not even tell his business partners that he was selling the house. And he kept every penny of that money. That's what this says. His business partners then had to sue him to try to get some of their money back. They claimed that he committed fraud. Some court listened to the complaint from the partners, and they awarded them a judgment against Jermaine for $200,000. All right. After you get a judgment, you have to then collect. Pay attention here, people. Suing someone is step one. Being able to win the lawsuit, that's only step one. After you win the lawsuit, you still have to collect on the money. So I want you to see what his business partner tried to do to get the money. All right. Check out what he tried to do. It says that Michael pursued numerous remedies, including a mechanic's lien on property. So this is property that Jermaine D. Morrison owned. He already lost the lawsuit. Now Michael's trying to get paid. He put liens on several properties. One particular property, it says right here, the defendant, which is Jay Morrison, transferred his Bond Brooks, New Jersey real estate into the name of a female associate before the judgment was docketed. So Jay saw it coming. And instead of what I would consider being a stand-up guy, you lost the lawsuit, paying your partners. He decided, I'm going to transfer the ownership of real estate into some woman's name, so they still cannot collect. Now, he was not able to do it on all the property. The properties that Jay did not transfer into some woman's name, it says the defendant, Jay Morrison, thereafter stopped paying the mortgages on the other properties. He just let them go into foreclosure. So his partner could still not collect the money that the partner said he was owed, and that a court also agreed that Jay Morrison owed him this money. All right, okay. All right, let's sum this up. Big red flag. Here's another one. What you see here is the original filing document for the Tulsa real estate. Now, in this filing, you can see that they established this company July 20th, 2016. Pay attention to the date. July 20th, 2016. That is when the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, originally Tulsa Management Group LLC, that's when it was started. Now, the funny thing about this date, July the 20th, 2016, that's when they started this fund. Now, here's my issue with that. On August the 28th, 2016, look at this. Tulsa Group started July 20th, 2016. All right. About 1 month later, August the 29th, 2016, Jermaine D. Morrison files for personal bankruptcy. Follow me here. On July 16th, or what? July, well, no, let's be clear. July the 20th, 2016, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund was born. About a month later, Jermaine Morrison files for personal bankruptcy. Seems like a red flag to me. Seems like a red flag to me. I'm going to finish this up, but I just want y'all to see how crazy this is. See how crazy this is. So about a month after starting the fund, he files for personal bankruptcy. I want you to see his financial situation during this time. Just pay attention here. It says that all of his assets, everything that he owns in this world, all of his assets, when you add it all up, is less than $5,000. $4,740 to be exact. This is everything that he has, that he owns. Real estate mogul, the founder of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, 1 month after actually starting the fund, he states to the government in this bankruptcy filing that all of his assets added up together is less than $5,000. All right. Well, what's in that? How did we get to $5,000? Well, apparently he has $4,700 worth of personal assets like jewelry, clothes, furniture, stuff like that. Cash, $40. Let me say that again for people who didn't hear. All the money he had in the world a month after starting the fund is $40. All right. And it says that his monthly income is $2,000. He makes $500 a week while starting the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. All right. Well, I know what some of you may be saying. Well, JT, that was in the past. Bad financial management in the past. Issues with paying his partners in the past. Give him an opportunity to run this fund. Give him an opportunity to show you that he is really the real estate mogul that he claims to be, JT. Don't hold him to the lawsuit that apparently he lost to a business partner, that he never wanted to pay his business partner, that he would rather have his personal real estate go into foreclosure before paying his real estate partners, apparently. Okay. Never mind the fact that the man was broke when he started the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, according to his own bankruptcy papers. Never mind that. Give Jermaine the opportunity to show you that he can run a real estate investment fund, JT. He'll get the work done. All right, so now let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the results. After all the talk, because all of these guys, they do a real good job talking. They can make it seem as if they have the solution to every problem you have. What happens when you actually give them the bag to do what they say they're going to do? What's the result? All right, let's take a look at this. These are the financial statements for every year the Tulsa Real Estate Fund has provided financial statements. As you can see, in 2018, he lost $184,272. Now you say, hold on, JT. That was year one. Every new business, most likely loses money in year one. You got to let him get his feet underneath him. Give him some time. Stall him out, Debo. Calm down. I got you. All right. So year one, $184,272 loss. What about year two? Year two, $1,018,992 loss. All right. Well, that's just year one and year two. Maybe he did better later. Let's take a look. How did he do better? Let's see. Well, in the next year, we see in 2020, he loses $1,948,983. All right. Well, not looking too good for the real estate mogul. Let's give him one more shot. According to the most recent numbers provided by Tulsa Real Estate Fund itself, these numbers, now I want to be clear, these numbers are over a year old. We were supposed to get these numbers over a year ago. So we have 2018 loss, 2019 loss, 2020 loss. We're in 2023 right now, but the most recent numbers we have is 2021. Let's see what he did in 2021. In 2021, it looks like he lost $2,731,247. So you lost over $100,000 in year one. You lose over $1 million in year two. You lose over $2 million. It seems to be somewhat of a trend. Now, I can probably guarantee you this. I can probably guarantee you that Jermaine will not lose another $1 million plus year. I don't believe that's going to happen. All right, listen, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I have faith. I personally believe with all my heart that given the opportunity, Jermaine D. Morrison will not lose $1 million plus again. I don't think he will. And here's why. This is why I do not believe the man will lose $1 million again. The reason why is that the company only has $772,372 left at December the 31st, 2021. So it's highly unlikely for him to lose another $1 million plus year because they don't have $1 million to lose anymore. Remember, this is December 31st, 2021. We've already passed December 31st, 2022. He just has not given us, or really the government, he has not given the government the financial statement yet. So let me bring up my brother. I just want to show y'all something real quick for all of you accounting nerds out there. This is the independent auditor's report for the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Now, if you did not take accounting in college, it's okay. Let me explain this to you. This says substantial doubt about the entity's ability to continue as a going concern. What does that mean, JT? Well, as a person who actually studied accounting in college, I took auditing courses. What this means is this independent CPA who is not an employee of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, they looked through the financials of this company and they said, we do not believe that the Tulsa Real Estate Company will be able to avoid bankruptcy for another 12 months unless something happens. This is what they say. Unless, or no, let me read the whole thing. It says, for the years ended December 31st, 2021 and 2020, the company had a net loss of approximately $2,731,000 and $1,949,000. All right, pay attention to this part. It says, these factors raise substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern within 1 year from the issuing date of this filing. This is what they think has to happen. To raise the required additional capital, meaning unless they raise more money or they take on debt, because I know they brag about how the Black House is debt-free. This independent accountant is saying they either have to raise more money from new investors, which would be absolutely crazy, or they're going to have to take on debt from the properties that they do have, or this independent accountant believes the Tulsa Real Estate Fund will go bankrupt. That's why I'm not surprised that when you go to the Tulsa Real Estate Fund's website, they have a new fund. They are taking pledges for the TREF Fund 2. So if you would like to throw good money after bad, in my opinion, go to the Tulsa Real Estate Fund's website and pledge your $500 to this fund that continuously loses money and there is no end in sight, according to the independent accountant, that this company will ever become profitable. All right, well, enough of me. Let me bring up my brother, Eli.
Good evening, man. Do you hear me nice and clearly?
There's a little bit of an echo there.
Okay. What is there an echo now?
A little bit. We can get through it.
Okay. So first I want to say, man, a part of me is happy that we've reached this point. I feel sad and sorry for those of you who have lost your money, who truly believed in this, who truly took him at his word and just kind of wanted to support something positive. But there's another part of me, the majority of me, that really wants to rub it in your face. Because for years, I dealt with you, Jay Morrison supporters, calling me an agent, calling me a coon, calling me a hater, saying I was COINTELPRO, that I was a homo, that I was a part of the LGBTQ mafia, that I was a bussy warrior. Well, here we are now, 5 years later, and every single year, Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund has lost money. Now, not only did he lose money as an expert, but more importantly, it gets better. He lost money in the greatest bubble in the history of man, where you had 14-year-olds sitting in their parents' basement making millions of dollars flipping JPEGs, where everyone became an online influencer. Everyone was teaching you about wholesaling, about credit, about Torah, about Airbnb. Interest rates were at 0%. And the real estate mogul, Mr. Real Estate, lost millions of dollars. So like JT said, I don't believe that he's going to have another $1 million plus losing year because he's going to bleed the fund dry. Which, in my opinion, I can't prove this because I have to use my words properly, because they always say that I'm slandering and trying to tear a black man down, not looking at the fact that this black man is tearing black people down. Because to take wealth from black people who are already a wealthless group of people is tearing down the black community. But I not only want to focus on the numbers, because I like to have a little bit of fun with this, right? So what I want to highlight tonight is all of the people who supported the fund, like 19 Keys, like Boyce Watkins, like Tariq Nasheed, who said that this was black empowerment, who gave him the platform. Because see, these people love to step up to the plate and be black leaders. I never asked them to be a leader. You never asked them to be a leader. They said they wanted to be leaders. Well, if you want to be a leader, part of being a leader is taking accountability. Where are all the podcasters, all of the platforms, all of the blogs that were promoting this, that said that they were going to buy a black town? What happened to them buying an entire town? What happened to them going into Tulsa, the actual town that they named the real estate fund after? Where's all of the group economics? See, this is why I say time and time again, we don't have black media. We don't have black journalism. Instead, we have black propaganda. And what I'm here to do is keep track of the score. Because when you are a leader, when you are a thought architect, like 19 Keys, right? Because isn't it amazing that these brothers and sisters, they know everything about everything under the sun, and then you take them up on their offer and they can't deliver anything. I'm going to play videos where Morrison said they're going to be lending out millions of dollars of capital. Well, the SEC report determined that was a lie. Then the fact that his wife had influence on the fund manager purchasing the Legacy Center is a conflict of interest. Follow me here. How is it possible? Let's think about this. If Morrison wants to play the game that online detractors and slanderers and trolls is the reason why the fund couldn't perform, that makes no sense because he has the capital. So if you're a professional, you should be able to go out here and find the deals because you have the most important thing. You had $14 million of black people's money. See, let me explain something to you. Every single morning, I get up and I trade live in front of my students. Why am I bringing this up? Because life happens. I have all type of things going on in my life that should not impact my ability to show up and do my job. A professional can show up and do their job no matter what. So this idea that having people that are anti what you're trying to do should not affect your ability to perform your duty. Because if that's the case, then you're not a professional. So there's so much here that we can unpack. But again, I want to also highlight, how is it that a fund manager can be enticed by his wife to go out and purchase a piece of property because it has a studio on it? Mind you, the wife is just a poet. The poet convinced the real estate expert to go and get a community center. But see, it's no different than Umar, because these are people who you can tell that they haven't grown and evolved as businessmen and women. They're no different than traveling pastors. Just instead of preaching about the Bible, which Morrison is trying to do now, that's the next play he's going to run, they just preach about black economics and talk about black issues. But see, notice, and we're going to play these things as we go, whenever you listen to these brothers and sisters speak, same thing with Umar, they can never go into detail about the operation that they're trying to embark on. They can talk to you about everything that's wrong with Black people because they spend more time trying to raise money than they do actually learning how to use money, how to deploy money, and how to grow money. And that's why we are where we are. Now, what I want to do, JT, if you possibly can, because I think that this is important as we get to this, I want to share my screen, and I want to share the actual report. Can you see it, JT?
Give me 1 second. It's popping up now. Here we go.
Okay. It's on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Because he loves to say that I'm slandering him.
Right?
Somehow I'm slandering him. Well, I'll put this in the chat for those of you to go look at the report as well. In the chat, if you go to page 24, right? Good old page 24. It breaks down everything that you need to know. See, he's going to try to spin this, oh, I'm a serial entrepreneur. So many other companies and, intercompany marketing and intercompany agreements, and we have assets that we're going to unload. And I understand that the words may be a little bit complicated. No, it's right here. The biggest expense that they have is general, administrative, marketing. So now what Jay Morrison wants you to believe is that he doesn't take a salary. He's doing the people's work.
Right.
He's out here doing work for the people that he doesn't even take a salary. Now, if we scroll down to here and see, you don't have to have a PhD in finance and economics to do this. Just read, right? And just, let one foot step in front of the other. So if we come down here to page 32, it says compensation of executive officers. We do not directly compensate Jay Morrison, although he may receive compensation from the manager and or its affiliate entities. Although we will indirectly bear some of the cost of the compensation paid to Jay Morrison through fees we pay to the manager, we do not intend to pay any compensation directly to Jay Morrison. So while the store is around the corner, I'm not going to tell you to go around the corner, but around the corner is the store. This is basically double talk, right?
Yeah, and shout out to Spencer to answer your question. Yes, the financial statement was released. Eli just dropped it in the chat. It's going to be on my community tab at the end of this show. But of course, you can go to the SEC and you can pull the report yourself. Go right ahead, Eli.
Now, it says compensation of the manager. Under the operating agreement, we are required to pay the manager a monthly asset management fee calculated at 5.5% of the total capital contribution as adjusted from time to time for capital withdrawals, distributions, additional contributions, allocations, and other account adjustments. We record this management fee in an annualized manner, ratably recording the expense over the course of 12 months. The manager reserves the right to defer collection of compensation from the time it is earned until sufficient cash is available. Follow me here. Until sufficient cash is available. Without forfeiting any right to collect, although the manager may earn interest on any deferred compensation. For the years ended December 31st, 2021 and 2020, the total amount of management fees incurred was $603,844, $512,681 respectively in those 2 years. As of December 31st, 2021, the manager earned but was not paid $594,000. Now, he's going to try to make it seem to you that, see, look, I only took a management fee in the previous years. I'm not taking a management fee anymore. And you'll go, see, the honest man, he's sticking up for his people. But see, again, we got to come back up here and look at this line, right? Because ask yourself, wow, why is the general, administrative, and marketing the biggest expense? Now I know what you're going to say.
Seems a bit odd. Seems a bit odd that a real estate investment company, their biggest expense is marketing. Seems a bit odd to me.
Right? Now, He wanted you to believe that we had to defend ourselves legally against trolls. So we had to go fight the SEC. But that was back in 2020. So why is it now higher? Because you're not fighting legal battles now.
They claim that they won. They claim, hey, the SEC, DOJ, all the alphabet boys, they all investigated the fund, and he said they got a clean bill of health and they're ready to move forward. That's
so that
what he
means
said.
In the following year, you shouldn't have to be spending all this money on high-priced attorneys because you're not fighting against the SEC. You're not representing yourself against the SEC. So wow, why the following year is it high? So now, the only reason why, in my opinion, don't know this to be fact, that you're not taking the salary is because there's no more cash to take the salary. Right? So you're not taking the salary. You're not doing us a favor. The reason why the fund is losing money is because of you, and you can't take money that isn't there. So maybe, in my opinion, and he said this out of his mouth, that he's a serial entrepreneur and that the Tulsa real estate fund is a conglomerate. He said this out of his mouth.
Yep.
Because I would love to go to court and, bring these things out. He said Tulsa's the umbrella and all of his businesses are underneath them. So it would be safe to assume that some of this $2 million that went to general, administrative, and marketing went to Jay Morrison. Because a company that he's affiliated with, because he's a serial entrepreneur. He's a serial entrepreneur at losing money. But this is very, very important here. Because see, if we come down here and see, people all the time talk about, reading is fundamental, But Jay Morrison understands that the audience that he's going after are not people that are going to sit down and read these things. Because see, Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell were the original ones to really start breaking this stuff down.
Yeah.
And they told you from the very, very beginning that nothing about this fund looked like it was based upon trying to generate income for the investors. The fund looked like from the inception that it was an immediate cash grab and grift because he was trying to charge you fees for work that he didn't even do yet. He was literally trying to price himself as if the fund had assets, as if the fund actually did work. But he didn't. You don't do the work to start the company and get paid right away. You have to start doing work for the investors and produce for them, and then you get paid. But anyway, if we come down here, let me scroll down, we can start to see that. Where is this at right here? Here we go. So revenue recognition. I want to get to the marketing part, and I think I missed that part. Well, hold on one second. I think it's right here. Here we go. Marketing and advertising expenses on page F13. It says, this is right here. It's the intercompany agreement. It's at marketing advertising. The company expenses advertising marketing costs as they are incurred. Advertising and marketing expenses were approximately $127,000 and $13,000 for the years ended December 31st, 2021 and 2020, respectively, and are recorded in general administrative and marketing expenses on consolidated statement of operations. So, who's doing the marketing? One of Jay Morrison's companies, allegedly. And now here we have $127,000 that is going to that company, or some of it's going to the sister company. So, while he may not be directly receiving compensation this year, he couldn't receive it if he wanted to because the fund doesn't have it to pay him. His companies that are affiliated with the quote-unquote Treff umbrella are getting paid. So it is disingenuous to sit up here and pretend like you are doing people a favor by not taking a salary after you've already done lost money. You should have never got a salary in the first place.
Now, Eli, people are going to say that we're haters. People are going to say that we are envious of this man, Jermaine D. Morrison, that we wish that we could do what he has done. Now, to be clear, I am in no way, shape, or form envious of a man that has lost multiples of millions of dollars of his investors' money. Just not how I'm built. Now, if he would just take some of this critique that myself, Eli, Yvette, Tone, like, even though it may come off harsh and in my particular position, very petty, we're actually giving you recommendations that could possibly help you actually do better than what you are. But the issue is you have to actually want to turn a profit. You have to actually be in a position where you want to do good by your investors. Now, I want to give this as an example, and Eli, help me out here if I'm missing a point. Now, not too long ago, I believe they had what was referred to as Dividend Day.
Oh, I'm gonna play that video too.
it was a big. Oh, if you got a video, let's play the video before I talk it up, because I want to hear them say it. But it was Dividend Day. Now, for those of you who are unaware, they were supposed to get paid. The investors were supposed to get paid, I believe, a preferred interest of 8%. I think I got that right. Maybe off 1 or 2, but I believe it was 8%. Here's the issue with being promised a 8% return on the investment, right, of the profit. You have to actually turn a profit to then give someone 8% preferred of the profit. And as we clearly showed you, based on the actual financial statements that were audited by an independent CPA, not someone hired in a W-2 employee by Tulsa Real Estate Fund, but an independent CPA, every single year it lost money. But there was a dividend day. The Tulsa Real Estate Fund actually paid out dividends. I can actually give my own personal testimony to that, because I have clients who are Tulsa Real Estate Fund investors. Now, listen, they were not clients of mine before they made the investment. They became clients of mine after they made the investment. And I saw the check that they got. Less than like $20 or something like that. But they got a check. But I start to scratch my head a little bit and wonder, how can you pay dividends when dividends are a portion of profits if a company never made a profit? Follow me here. If I tell you that I am going to sell my car and I'm going to pay you half of whatever I make from selling my car, and I actually lose money selling my car, how can I pay you out of the profits when there are no profits? But apparently there was a dividend day. You got it queued up? Eli?
No, I don't got that video queued up. I want to queue up the voice video first, because
go right in.
The voice video is extremely important. So let's go here, because see, everyone wants you to believe in their aspiration and listen to them and their wisdom and their leadership. But it's important that we keep track of the score as well, right? Because this is Mr. PhD, Mr. Watkins. Let's listen to what he had to say about the fund.
All right.
Prior to us getting here when it first launched.
Got it.
Started asking questions. My PhD is in finance. I asked some pretty detailed questions, some pretty tough questions. Jay answered them all. Boom, boom, boom. SEC approval. Boom, boom. Oh, we're going to set it up this way and do this and this. And
can you pause it real quick? I'm sorry.
He said, okay.
Pause it real quick. I've gotta correct our brother PhD in finance, because our brother PhD in finance said something that's an absolute no-no. If you are actually a financial advisor, a licensed financial advisor, you would be aware that you can never at any time claim that an investment has been approved by the SEC. That is one of the biggest no-nos that you can do as an actual financial advisor. So even though he has a PhD in finance and he claims he asked Jay some very hard questions. That right there tells me he probably does not know what he's talking about. But the words that come out of his mouth that the Tulsa Real Estate Fund has been approved by the SEC, that would let anyone who's actually in the world of giving people financial advice, we would know Dr. Boyce is not a reliable source to take financial advice from.
Definitely not a reliable source.
One last thing. He said he asked him a lot of hard questions, and Jay answered them all. Boom, boom, boom. Well, Dr. Boyce, you're probably watching this or you're watching in the replay. Did you ask him this question? Jay, are you currently in personal bankruptcy? I think that's a pretty good question to ask a man before you hand him a check for $10,000. Boyce claims he handed Jay a check for $10,000 to invest in this fund, unaware that he was handing the check to a man who was currently in Chapter 7 personal bankruptcy, who claimed he was only making $500 a week and he was unable to pay his own bills. That's what you get with a PhD in finance.
Isn't it crazy? It's just asinine to even think that something like that could happen.
Okay, he's really thought this through. He's really laid this out. This is going to be nice. This infrastructure is solid. And I immediately gained faith in what Jay was doing. You know, I said, okay, you know what? I'll back you. Let me know what I can do. Let me know how I can help. I was one of the initial investors. I stepped right up and wrote my check and sent it in. And I said, I'm in this. And we talked about it. I supported. People asked me about it. And I always, whenever they ask me about it, I always tell them the same thing. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to participate? I believe in the fund. I believe in Mr. and Mrs. Morrison. This is just the beginning. I am happy to invest my money. I will invest more money. I can't wait to see all the great things that are done in the future. Together, we can do anything. God bless everybody. So when he told me.
So, again, now, I'm just here to keep track of the score and let you know you're losing. You're losing horribly. Now, again, many of you want us to subscribe to your aspirations. Okay, great. We took you up on the offer. It's been 5 years. Where is Boyce at now? Where is Boyce's analysis of the fund now? See, I want you to understand this. These people are stepping up and they're saying they want to be leaders. Well, guess what? With being a leader, there's something known as accountability. So now we're holding you accountable for you promoting this fund to people. And to say that you was a PhD and an expert. So what that tells us is that based upon your expert opinion and how poorly your opinion has performed, then we shouldn't listen to you anymore. Right? Because you don't want to take accountability for the lack of performance. You just want to be quiet. But see, Yvette talked about this, and I'm going to get to 19 keys next. Because see, what we allow these people to do is reinvent themselves. So they fail over here. They leave a trail of dead bodies behind them. They lose millions of dollars of Black people's money. And then they just go reinvent themselves to the next thing. And see, people don't like when I say this, but I'm going to say it time and time again. Many of you are slow. It's proven. After watching this, because I don't care how well you speak. I want my dividends. I want my performance, or at least be able to recoup and give back whatever's left over. In this case here, because the way the fund is structured, you can't even pull your money out until he decides that the fund is liquid enough to be able to do so. I just want you to think about that for a second. So see, and Kevin Samuels and people say, you repeat yourself all the time because truth is consistent. See, that's part of the problem. You always want to hear something different. There's nothing new under the sun, right? You give your money to people who are professionals, who know what they're doing, and they perform. You give your money to influencers, hotel hustlers, back to Africa hustlers, B1 hustlers, and you lose your money. You take these people up, Umar went to school, still no school. And they'll give you every excuse in the world as to why the fund can't perform, as to why they don't have the school for the Black boys. Aren't you supposed to be a professional? Don't you know about interdimensional chakras, right? Don't you know 19 Keys knows about aliens? He's selling you crowns that can protect you from 5G radiation. But see, it goes to show you that most of our people, we are not serious as we claim to be. Because if you were serious, you'll be holding Boyce accountable. Boyce would not be able to post online without you coming in and reminding him about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Because he has everything to say about everything else but Jay Morrison.
Hey, Eli, I got a quick question for you. I mean, obviously, I respect your opinion, right? So I got a quick question to you about simple investment math, right? I want to put up on the screen a report right here. This is the same report we've been talking about, but this particular page, this is a cash flow report, right? This is a cash flow report. Now, seems a bit odd to me, but I want your opinion on this because I may be biased. It shows right here when it talks about cash flows from financing activities. It says dividends paid. This is money that the fund paid to their investors. It shows $388,172, right? Almost $400,000. Dividends paid to investors. I have a question for you because, obviously you're a guy who reads up on finance and you're well versed. If investors give someone money, then that investor is unable to turn a profit, but he then finds money to give back to their investors as a dividend. What is that normally called?
Well, it's called the Ponzi scheme. But see, in this case, what I believe he did, and again, I have to use my words properly, so I don't want to say I'm slandering him. From my understanding is that he could pay out a dividend if the fund is one of two things, either profitable or properly liquid, meaning that at a certain time, certain assets, because with accounting, you can make things appear certain ways with accounting gimmicks where you can list the assets at a certain value. So because the assets are listed at that value, you can then use the liquidity that you have over here and say, because a projected return, we can pay you with this money over here. It's really just kind of playing accounting tricks from what I understand from the people who I've spoken to. And again, I'm not saying he directly did that, but it looks like it was an accounting.
It seems awful odd. And shouts out to Tony the Closer. And if y'all have not been paying attention to Tony the Closer on Instagram, y'all missing out. Go and follow Tony the Closer on Instagram. The stories that he is breaking, I mean, real breaking news is happening with Tony the Closer on Instagram and YouTube. So go check him out. Shouts out to him. But it seems odd. I'm a certified financial planner, and it just seems odd for a company that has never made one positive year-end dollar. Not one.
See, I want to play this video, right? Because see, this ties into what you're saying right now. I want you to listen to what he's saying, and then I want you to look at the report, right? Because talk is cheap. Let's listen to what he's saying here. And let's go back to the report.
Listen, Tulsa Real Estate Fund has just made a major play for the community. Starting August 1st, we're going to have $3 million a day, $90 million a month, over $1 billion a year that we're going to lend out daily for no money down, no credit check, no risk real estate transactions for you and your family to be able to make more money during these challenging times. And guess what? I'm going to teach you how to do it. My protege, Isaac Grace, already tested it out. He borrowed $250,000 last month in one day and made over $50,000 net profit in real life. I got the receipts. And we're doing a free training this Saturday, July 18th, 1 p.m. Eastern. Go to cashbuyerslivestream.com. I'll see you there.
Where's the billions? Where's the millions? Where's the billions and where's the goddamn millions at? You like it. I sit here sometimes and I say to myself, I feel as if like I'm in hell and God is punishing me.
Right.
We have to sit through this absolute pure foolishness that you can listen to a person say these things boldly in the camera. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to have billions and billions of dollars ready to go left and right. And then we look at the SEC report and we don't see millions coming in. We see millions going out. Right? And, you know, I sit here, right? Because, you know, me and Tony, we always talk on the phone and stuff like this. And we go through, you know, so much ridicule and death threats and people calling us cop chasers and all of this. And yet people like Caesar, Big Business, and Jay Morrison, they just get to walk around the streets freely and go now launch another fund. Like, I want you to think about just how asinine and backwards that is. This man should be shunned everywhere he goes. He should not even be allowed to walk outside. But see, again, because they know that most of the men in the community are weak, because there's not a lot of people like us. See, I'm not talking to the people who are viewing and following us. I'm talking to the masses. The masses of people don't have a backbone. They don't stand for anything. Like, prime example, there was a video the other day where this guy named Nico, he breaks down watches. He's a watch fanatic. Because, see, this ties back into culture.
Right.
He exposed a guy a white guy or Israeli guy, European, just call him white, who had a fake Richard Mille on and was trying to sit up there and pretend like he was this rich guy. He exposed him for having a fake Richard Mille. Let me tell you what you did not see in those comments. You didn't see one white person come and say, why are you trying to tear a white brother down? You didn't see one comment of a person saying, you are a snitch. You didn't see one person coming on there threatening him. Instead, what you saw in there is people saying, thank you for exposing him. We need more of that. See, only in our culture do we uphold the most degenerate of us. Instead of holding people accountable for them scamming, scheming, lying, and defrauding, we somehow want to talk about reparations and, you know, white supremacy and Jim Crow. That don't have a goddamn thing to do with a black man who said he was for the culture, who is up here scheming on that culture. But we don't want to hold people accountable. See, understand, when you are in the streets, you know the rules you are playing by. There's no honor amongst thieves. You subscribe to that. There is well-to-do, mean people who really bought into this fund, not because they thought they was going to make money, but because they wanted to support a black business. And see, what I'm here to do is I'm here to show you he's not the only one. See, there's a bunch of telltale signs that you can see. These people are not upright. And one of those signs is, come over here. I want to share another video with you because, see, I want you to start to see that there's a pattern of behavior here. If we come over here and we watch the way that he conducts himself in these interviews and the people that's interview him, it will tell you all you need to know about what's going on. So now I want you, because he's talking about the lawsuit that he supposedly won against Tony, and I want you to listen to the things that he's saying. And this is why the fund can't make any money.
And what's so vindicating about it for me is like what God shared with me at the end of the whole thing is like, see, I'm an influencer, but I'm not an influencer. Yeah, I'm a real estate guy, but I'm not a real estate guy.
Now,
what does that mean?
It means exactly what it is. He's not a real estate guy. He's telling you he's not a real estate guy. And yet you're giving him millions of dollars. See, if you let a person talk long enough, they'll tell you all you need to know. He's literally telling you, I'm not an influencer. He's a drug dealer. He's a thief. He's a con man. He's telling you what he is. Are you listening to him? Or is it because you're a thief and you're a con man? So one thief and one con man, because he can lie to himself, you lying to yourself thinking he's an investor.
Here's the crazy part, real quick. I don't know if he was just telling this story just to say something. There's one particular interview where Jay Morrison says that he sold his own father crack. Now listen, that could be just a story that he says to make himself sound as if he was a serious drug dealer or whatever. But just think about that. The man who would sell his own father crack cocaine.
Crack
is not going to do you any good. The man who lies about selling his own father crack cocaine does not mean you any good.
Just think about that a person will tell you he's for the culture after selling his father crack. And see, people say, why do you go so hard? Because Kevin Samuels said it best. We have to reclaim Black media in an image as to what it means to be Black. Because see, understand, Chris Rock said it best as well too. There are Black people and then there are niggas. And the sad reality about it is many of our people subscribe to nigga culture, which is why they identify with him to the T. Because any person with an ounce of morality, like JT just said, if a person says he's so cracked to his father, you may have changed, but goddamn, you can't get my money. You can do all the community work in the world. Kudos to you. I'll support that all day long. You selling crack to your father, you're not getting my money. But now let's get to this. Let's listen, because I want you to listen to the things that he's saying in these interviews.
I'm a man of God. I'm called by God to do great things and just whatever it is he got for me, right? So I went through all these. I didn't even get to half my stories, but God, I've been divorced. I've been bankrupt. I've been like all these different things, right? Parole.
All losing. He's a loser. He's a habitual loser. If you listen to him talk, it's always about him losing something, right? It's never about him winning at anything. It's never him excelling at anything, right? Like, what did he excel at? What? Can you name one thing that he was good at? He was a horrible realtor. He's a horrible fund manager. He was a horrible husband. He was a horrible kid, allegedly, because he's so cracked to his father, right? What has he done good at? Think about it. So why are you surprised now that the habitual loser, right? He wasn't even a good criminal. Because he's a great guy. Right? He wasn't even good at being a criminal. But you will sit here and be surprised that the guy who failed, that's why he got a felony, because he got an F at being a criminal, is somehow now going to be a fund manager, right? But see, it's amazing to me that we got to go through all of this. And see, people say, why you go so hard? Because there are Black men and Black women out here that are good fund managers, right, that do have legitimate businesses, that are trying to educate you. But because they're not wrapped up in some Hotep Back to Africa B1 red, black, and green FBA scheme and gimmick, you don't support them. But you'll sit up here and you'll listen to this foolishness of a person telling you how much of a loser he is. He's telling you how much of a loser he is. And you think that that's young Malcolm? You will allow him to destroy the legacy of the great Malcolm X, a loser?
Oh my God.
Let's listen to the rest of it. Only like 10 more seconds.
Work release, house monitoring, ankle bracelet. I got the cliche Black man's journey of everybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, stop that. Nope, I'm not buying into that narrative. Cliche Black man's journey. No, sir. Not me. Not this fella. That whole story, I do not identify one bit. Nobody in my clique, not my friends I went to college with, not my business associates, no one. We do not associate with what he's referring to as a cliche Black man story. Absolutely not. No, sorry.
Go in on that, JT, because see, again, that's my point, is that we as Black men and Black women, we have to raise the bar. Even if you're not where you want to be, you have to be excelling and aspiring to something higher. You have to be subscribing to something higher. I'm not coming on here to listen to a person tell me how much of a loser they are, right? I want to support things that are actually going to speak life and show me rehabilitation. This is not a rehabilitated man. Because now that he ran that play well, the fun play, because he's going to bleed the fun dry, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Right.
He's going to bleed the fund dry. And you can already see him repositioning for the next play. And that's the Black church spirituality, which we're going to hear in here. You can already see the next grift already a mile away. Now listen to this.
He gave me that testimony so I could minister and reach so many people on a real level. So like even going through a social media slander or whatever the case is, God just said to me simply, if you can't handle social media, you can't handle nations.
That's real. Oh, I thought about you when I was looking at that stuff.
Now, another slow motherfucker. This is another slow. Another. Listen to how he talk. Look at the person interviewing him. Notice, even with people from Social Proof, the Donnie and the other dude, David Shands, another group of slowies. Right now, look at the questions that he's asking him. Is he asking him about the bankruptcy report? Is he asking him about Michael Levant? Is he asking him why the fund is losing millions of dollars? Is he asking him about the intercompany marketing agreement? Is he asking him, hey, if the fund had to pay $1 million for legal defense for the SEC, why are we going to spend another $2 million? Notice that they're not pulling up any documentation. Why did he breach the contract with Tony the Closer within 30 days of the event? Why did he keep the speaking money if he didn't speak at the event? Why did his wife keep the speaking money if she didn't speak at the event? Why is your wife giving you input on purchasing the Legacy Center when your wife has no background in real estate? Why are you not asking relevant, pertinent, detailed questions about what's going on? Because they keep talking about the slandering campaign. Can you talk about some of the slander then?
Most of these people who interview him, they have a smaller platform than his Instagram. They just want to see a bump in their own numbers. Or they're not journalists. They're not serious, podcasters are journalists who are actually attempting to get to the truth of the matter. And I have to give Jay a shout out though. Listen, Jay is in my Mount Rushmore of internet talking Negroes. If you are unaware that he will speak you into circles, he can almost hypnotize you with the BS that I believe he just says. He can talk for hours and hours about nothing, and an unaware person will walk away saying he was deep. And I think, based on the look in this guy's eyes, he's hypnotized by Jay's charisma, whatever it would be called. But I just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers. The numbers say, in your words, loser.
He's a loser. Jay Morrison is a loser. He's a horrible criminal. He's a horrible fund manager. He was a horrible realtor. He is a loser. He's a habitual loser. And at the end of the day, listen, birds of a feather flock together. Right? Which is why Boyce, who's a loser, supports him, right? And which is why 19
Boyce, now to be clear, Boyce also filed for personal bankruptcy. Let's not forget that.
Because I can't wait to get to 19 keys. Because that's going to be the highlight of tonight. But anyway, let's listen to this, like 10 more seconds of this foolishness, because again, it shows you what he's setting up for next.
Handle nations.
That's real. Oh, I thought about you when I was looking at that stuff, and I thought about Joseph in the Bible, how he never complained, but he kept going through trials. He knew he was a king, but once he gets thrown in the pit, brothers turn their back on him. He ends up having to go into Egypt, and once he gets there, he ends up going to jail and all kind of stuff. He's just going through all these different things, but he don't complain, and he consistently go through what he got to get to in order to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Same thing you just ended your conversation with.
So it's like I feel amazing. Like because everybody know I'm tested and I'm vetted.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody know.
You failed every test.
There it is. There it is. That is one of the major problems in the Black community. Right there. The mindset of the host and the skillful ability of Jay Morrison. That is one of the major problems in our community. Instead of actually looking for the facts and looking at the numbers and seeing, as you said, a habitual loser, he's looking for references in the Bible, trying to put a Jay Morrison into a character in the Bible. And he said, after all of that, you never complained. Jay Morrison complained every step. There's not, if you go back to those Tulsa Talk podcasts, Jay Morrison complained at every step of the process. He is on a comeback tour right now complaining. He was on that one podcast that we talked about the other episode where he's calling out 19 Keys, Earn Your Leisure, Him 500, Wall Street Trapper. What is that? That's complaining. That's what that is. You are complaining. But okay, I forgot. Let me learn my place. I'm a coon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
But you know what's funny, JT? If you were listening to Kathy Wood or Bill Ackman, right? Or Carl Icahn, right? Anyone in finance, when you would listen to them speak, they would never be saying things like they're here to save the white community. They wouldn't be referencing the Bible. They would be talking about the performance of their investments.
Right.
They will be talking about the investment ideas that they have for the future. Yep. They will be talking about artificial intelligence, investing in semiconductors and silicon, right? Gene editing and gene splicing. That's what Kathy Wood talks about. Disruptive and innovative technology. When you listen to all of these Hotep Back to Africa B1 speak, they never talk to you about how the school's going to operate. How are you going to fund the school? Where's the revenue going to come from? Jay Morrison doesn't talk about ROIs, doesn't talk about how he's going to get the fund to be profitable, how he's going to get the fund out of the red. You don't hear anything about macroeconomics, economic events, right? New zip codes that they're going to go into, right? New ways of creative financing. Nothing he talks about is detailed about real estate, which goes to show you that he's not an expert in real estate, because people who are serious about the business of investing is going to be breaking down investing, which is why I said to you time and time again, I said this to people all the time, they get mad at me. That's not financial literacy. Isn't you tuning into a podcast and they tell you what to buy and what to do. Financial literacy is empowering you with information so you can find your own investments, so that you can manage your own money. But see, he can't go outside of the Hotep talk because he doesn't know anything about real estate.
No, that is a great point. I mean, you can see by the non-performance of the fund, you can see by his long history of getting into lawsuits and disputes with ex-business partners. Not just this. I don't want to take people on like the wrong road, but just understand this. I had the fortunate opportunity to have a father in my life, my entire life. And my father always told me, like, listen, before you enter into an agreement with another man, simply look at the relationships that he had with other people before you.
Yep.
Especially the people who are closest to him. If you look at the first lawsuit that I presented tonight between Michael Avant and Jay Morrison, this was not someone he just met at a business deal, right? Tony and Jay, that was a business deal. They weren't friends or anything. That was a business deal. Michael, according to the documents, was a childhood friend of Jay Morrison. They grew up together. There was a relationship prior to the real estate deal. But according to the paperwork, Jay ran off with the bag. Not only did he run off with the bag, when he was sued and lost, he decided to put his real estate in some woman's name so that he can avoid the judgment. If he would do that to someone that is a close childhood friend, you who's a follower on Instagram, how is he going to treat you better than someone who he knows their mother? He grew up with them. Like, you don't have to have an MBA to understand that business relationship is going to end bad, because he can't even have a good relationship with his so-called friends. Where's Isaac Grace? Where's Will Roundtree? These were his friends, not just business associates, his friends. They're not with him anymore. Why?
And also, to build on that, so now when we look at people who, like JT just said, they have bad business dealings with multiple partners and friends, we also have to look at the people who tend to support people like Jay Morrison, people like Boyce Watkins. Right? See, because we have to focus on the marketing that went on as the fund was launched. Because where are all those people at now? Because see, again, like I said before, we love to allow people to reinvent themselves and leave behind a trail of dead bodies, like the BWO, the epic failure that was. And then they just go and now they're NFT experts. Now they're thought architects, whatever the fuck that means, right? And thought leaders. And they went from selling gold water and bandanas to now they're NFT experts. So let's look at Mr. Jabril Muhammad, right? Let's share my screen. Jabril Muhammad, also known as 19 Keys, 268 weeks ago. Because see, let me tell you something. I am an agent. I am a coon. I have hard drives of all of you stacked up about all of the foolishness that y'all was promoting. So it says history, solutions, community. He has the lock, and he says the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is the key. The lock, and he said the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is the key. Well, here we are now, 260 weeks later, after promoting that. Where's 19 Keys at now? Did he ever come out to you and say to you, hey, this may not be a good investment? Has he come out? He's right. Has he come out and retracted? No. You have to let him move on because he can speak well. Because he can talk. Him and Billy Carsons can talk to you about high-level conversations of aliens and chakras and being able to heal yourself in your mind. Why can't they astro project you dividends? Why can't they heal the fund? See, if you could just heal things with your mind, right? And you're such a deep, then why can't they heal the fund? Where's the gold water at? Can the gold water manifest? Because they always talk about manifesting. Why can't they manifest the school for Black boys?
Pour some of that gold water over the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
Right? But then, see, it gets better because now, like I said, I like to have a little fun with things. I like to laugh a little bit. And I want you to listen to 19 Keys, right? Mm-hmm. Right before he got to hot, because he's a chameleon. He just reinvents himself so much. I mean, I give him that. He is good at nigga babble. I give him that.
Here are the keys, man. Next year is the rule for the rich righteous teacher, meaning that those who are righteous, who have good intent to change the paradigm, will now have the resources to fund their ideas. It's always been a plight of the poor righteous teacher to not have resources to actually fund their ideas, to fund their minds, so that we can actually make effective change. And 1919, since a 100-year cycle is about to come back around, is when the construction on Black Wall Street began in Oklahoma. It was also when you had the Black Star Line by Marcus Garvey. Not since 1919 have we built something up so incredible. So it's time for us to end that paralysis. It's time for us to take on a new way of thinking, and we get back to utilizing the tools that's in existence so we can actually build the world that we want to see. 2019 is the year of the keys, because if I give you the keys, then you take that and you give it to somebody else. Instead of all these rusty locked minds, everybody is the key. Everybody is giving each other the necessary energy to free ourselves and go to our highest level of potential. Time to tap in. Peace. Peace, family. Peace, family. It's year of the keys, man. Next year is the rule.
So I just want to play this clip real quick for y'all, because this is what 19 Keys sounds like. This is exactly the foolishness that we are hearing right here. I want you guys to listen to what we just heard right there. This is 19 Keys right here. He has his crown on, as you can see. He has his crown on, right? And this is 19 Keys, and Brother Polite for that matter.
Do you secrete a reading dysfunction? Do you have problems putting your words in a colostomy bag? That's why I've cremated this new program called Book on Finance. I'll teach you how to testiculate my way. To computate how it works, I will intersex with a perverted deviant by using one of my own penile implants. Masticate the sentence. C, dick, angina. Angina. You know what Jana is, don't
So, 19 Keys is the Oswald Bates. He just comes up here and, saying, my brother, see, what you have to understand is you need this bandana to protect you from 5G radiation so that you can astral project. And then when you take this gold water, you're going to be vibrating on such a high level that you're just going to unlock all the locks around you.
You understand?
You understand me? And you'll go and say, you know what? Here, take my money. Take my money. I want to invest in what you have to say. And then they said a whole bunch of nothing. Nothing about profits, nothing about the fund, nothing about how the Tulsa real estate fund is going to generate profits. Just a bunch of hotepery back to Africa foolishness.
But the sad thing is, it sells. It sells. People buy it. If people didn't buy it, they wouldn't be selling it. They know their audience. And being able to know their audience, knowing that, hey, if I make myself sound super deep and I talk about things that are beyond reality and make it seem as if I have all the keys, it's like, but look at these people's lives. As you said, all of these guys are habitual losers. They have not been successful in anything as long as they've been in front of us. 19 Keys was a part of a group called the Shifters. The paradigm shifters. What happened to the shifters? The shifters shifted their way against each other. They're not together anymore. So he re-ups from the shifters and he goes into BWO, Black World Order, Bridge and Wealth Opportunities. Had a bunch of people. They were going to save the Black community. What happened to BWO? That blows up. Now he's trying to start it back up under his own brand, but that blows up. Then where does he end up? He ends up on Earn Your Leisure. He goes from a failure with the shifters, a failure with BWO, and now, not only is he a part of Earn Your Leisure, his video is the biggest thing on their brand. Earn Your Leisure is a financial literacy network. The biggest video, the greatest watched piece of content on their platform is two Negroes talking about space aliens and astro projection. That's the greatest piece of watched content on the Earn Your Leisure network.
If you know so much about aliens that are coming from another planet, why didn't you know the Tulsa real estate fund wasn't going to give us no dividends? If you know so much, right? Think about this. If you're telling me you that deep, your crowd is giving you that much energy. You drinking your gold water, you eating your sea moss. You tapped in with the aliens billions of miles away. But you didn't know that the Tulsa real estate fund wasn't going to work. Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. See, as I sit here sometimes think to myself like, yo, I have to be living in an alternate reality. We have, because it's like everything with Black culture is upside down. Like they don't want to learn from professionals, from credentialed people. They don't want to give their money to licensed professional people. They don't want to, but they'll go to a person who's telling you, I'm an influencer. I'm calm, man. You know what I'm saying? I got divorced. And you go, take my money.
Shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money.
Man, listen, man, this big business, man. Why that's that? Listen, man, here's the plan. You just gonna give me $500,000. Boom, we're gonna put it into these 3 properties, you know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, we're gonna cash out refi. And you go, you know what? I'm not gonna give you $1,000. I'm gonna give you $50,000. I'm gonna give you $500,000. It ain't sick. This is sick.
It reminds me of that clip were one of the alleged victims of big business. He records big business while he's asking for his money back. He's asking for several hundreds of thousands of dollars. He wants his money back from Greg Big Business Parker. The recording is Greg on the phone saying, I don't have that type of money laying around. I gotta make a play. We gotta make a play. What does that mean?
First of all, if you don't have that kind of money laying around, then the person shouldn't even be investing with you. See, understand when you invest into something like that, you are an unsecured creditor.
Yep.
So at that point, that means you are on the back end of being able to retrieve whatever assets they have. If you don't have more than $500,000 as the quote unquote person receiving the investment, then I shouldn't even be giving you no money. Think about that for a second, because that means if you fail, you ain't got shit for me to come after. Like, think about that for a second. The person's telling you he ain't got that kind of money, which means if you got that kind of money, why are you giving it to him?
It should be the other way around.
He should be giving you the money to learn what you're doing because you got more than him. Make it make sense. This is sick.
Like, let's be clear. The real estate mogul, Jay Morrison, on his bankruptcy said he had $40 to his name. $40. This is after he starts a fund where he's able to pull about $15 million from Black people. A man with $40 in his pocket was able to convince thousands of Black men, women, and families to hand him over roughly $15 million. And he has managed to lose millions upon millions of dollars every year. And according to the financial statements that he presented to the government at the end of December 31st, not 2022, but 2021, at the end of December 31st, 2021, he had less than $800,000 left. 15 mil, 800,000. Now, I'm aware that he did buy some real estate, but when you add all of that real estate up, it does not equal a market value of $15+ million.
You know what? Let's play devil's advocate. Let's go back to the statement, right? Let's go back to the actual, right? Because I know what you Hotep was going to say, right? So let's go back to it. I want to go all the way back to the stuff I have highlighted because I went through this whole thing. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that he drank his gold water, he put on his crown, right? Vibrating at a high level. He's having high level conversations with the aliens,
right?
If you subtract away the $2 million that he lost and the $1 million that he lost, if you look at the total amount of income they have, $505,000, and then you come down here and you look at the loss of impairment, it's $414,000. So even without all of the marketing expenses, right, all of the intercompany marketing and all that, if you just strip that away, he's barely break even at that point. So it goes to show you that even without all of the general administrative marketing, or because he's going to try to spin you, and you strip that away. If you just look at the revenue versus what his expenses are in regards to the losses on the real estate, because the real estate is depreciated, right? Or it's not as valuable as it was, right? So he's an impairment. He's lost $414,000 against the 505. So that just goes to show you that. So all of these billions and billions and billions of dollars that he's going to do a year, it's not showing up in the report. Without the SEC stuff and all that. See, this is how you can just look at this and say it never made sense from the beginning. Never. And that's what Antonio Moore was saying. It never made sense from the beginning.
Listen, people, we can go on and on, but it's just, while we are petty and while we do enjoy being able to laugh at this buffoonery, we are aware that thousands of mostly Black and brown people gave Jay Morrison and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund their money. you will most likely never get that money back. If he liquidated all the assets and the bank, you would probably not get your money back. Let this be a lesson. Don't give up on trying to build wealth. Don't give up with trying to invest. Give up on Hotep, Back to Africa, B1 financial advisors. One thing has nothing to do with the other, right? You can be a great financial advisor and have nothing to do with that, or you can be a financial advisor and have everything to do with that, but you don't mix the two together. If the person who's presenting to you this opportunity to make money, if 80% of their time is spent talking about blackity black, black, blackity black, black, blackity black, 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 and maybe 20% is actually talking about numbers and ROIs and all of that, run away. You got to stop this madness. I hear from you guys. You guys call me up and you tell me about all the L's that you took. You talk about how you're defaulting on all of this credit card debt that you went out and got because you were going to run a Navy Federal play. And now your credit cards are being shut down because you can't even manage to pay the minimum monthly payments. So they shut your credit cards down. You're on the edge of filing for bankruptcy because you listened to these buffoons. It's okay, though. You can dust yourself off. You can get back to financial stability, but learn from this, people. Learn from this. That's all we're saying. Learn.
And I'll end with this. Yes, it's good to laugh a little bit about it. I love the rubbing in your face, in your faces, because for years I've dealt with so much of, because he loves to talk about people slandering him. I've dealt with people slandering me now for 4 or 5 years, calling me everything but a child of God. And now here we are. Everything that I've said has happened, whether it was about young Pharaoh, Umar Johnson, Brother Polite, now Jay Morrison. For years, I've been making this type of content. And people think that you're making it because you're chasing clout. Understand, I'm articulate and I'm highly intelligent. And I know you trolls don't like when I say it. That's why I keep saying it. Making this type of content about your favorite heroes isn't going to garner me any support. See, people say like you're doing this for clout as if I'm going to somehow benefit from this. Because chances are, if you're a Jay Morrison supporter, you ain't going to like me. Right? It would be easier for me to be a scammer like them. See, I would make more money if I actually just ran in that path. See, if I ran that blueprint in that play, I would have more celebrity followers. I would have more clout. I'll be on all the favorite podcasts, making this type of content and telling the truth, right? Because truth is treason in an empire full of lies. So because most of you love great lies and liars, I'm never going to be popular. I'm never going to get the support. So I love when I hear people talking about how I'm doing this for clout, because, and I want to show this before we go, right? We talk about clout so much, right? Look at Jay Morrison. Look at him up on 20.
You heard 21. We got to put it onto the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
Yeah.
What we going to do, Jay?
Big thing. We finna buy the hood, man.
We about to buy the hood. You heard him? 21.
Straight up.
Now, doesn't that look like a D-Rider? Doesn't that look like a clout chaser?
We're the clout chasers, but they're the ones with the celebrities and taking pictures. Like when I meet a legit celebrity, I have never in my life asked for a picture. Never.
JT, I'll be in the club in Miami. Jim Jones be in there. Drake be in there. I'll be so drunk living my life. I don't be giving a damn about none of these people. Networking, none of that. But if you look at these people and just look at the 21.
They never miss an opportunity to deride whoever it is. It does not matter. If they see anyone with any type of celebrity, these clowns run to them. They take a picture, they post that picture, and they will even use that picture as a part of their marketing. But we're clout chasers.
Yeah, exactly. I was even in the club with the dude Takeoff, probably 3 days before he had got married. I don't care about that stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to leverage celebrities to make money. I don't do that, right? But it's just amazing to me that they'll call us the clout chaser, yet you go to their page and all you do is see them chasing clout. When a young black man dies, the first thing Jay Morrison wants to run and do is talk about it. Yep. See, they use black trauma and black pain to sell you things. But it's like I said before, when you're dealing with the low IQ, the people with IQs below room temperature that have the intellectual bandwidth of a gnat, then in some way they'll try to really make you think that you're the clout chaser because they're slow. And see, I've come to the conclusion that most of these people are really slow, right? And it's okay, which is why I don't feel the need to try to defend myself anymore because time will reveal all. See, you can lie some of the time, but eventually all of the plays and the jugging and the scheming and the scamming that you've been doing, it's going to catch up to you, right? So now the egg is on your face. The foolishness now has been put out there. You have a decision. Are you going to continue not see Jay Morrison? He's already tarnished, but you need to hold those accountable that support it, that promote it, and that encouraged you to put your money into that. You do not allow a person to not be held accountable for recommending someone or putting someone on a platform, and you just let them reinvent themselves. That's not how it works. They have to be held accountable. So like I said, what the 19 keys do. Listen, if you like a high-level conversation that's great. But you need to ask him, why did you promote the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and what do you think about it now? You need to ask Boyce, why did you promote the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and what do you think about it now? And don't let them deflect and talk about, what about the white funds? You didn't promote the white fund. You promoted the black fund. So we're going to hold you accountable based upon what you promoted. Don't deflect and talk about Popeye's chicken like Boyce likes to do. No, talk about the things that you have promoted and the lack of performance. And the last thing I'll say, and I'm done at this point, like JT said, if an individual spends more time talking about everything else under the sun than the actual investment opportunity, then that tells you all you need to know. That means that they're lacking and that they're trying to deflect and not get you to ask questions. See, they want to get you in your feelings because your feelings will leave you feeling like a fool. They do not want you to be in your mind because in your mind is where your higher consciousness is at. Because see, if you just approach things from a logic-based perspective, 1 + 1 will always equal 2. But they don't want you thinking that way. They want you thinking about Eric Gardner, Tamir Rice. Same thing. Where's my son at? Where's Tamika Mallory at? Wasn't they championing this fund? Wasn't they saying people? Right? Where are they? Sean King. Where are all of these people that were promoting this fund? See, that goes to show you that many of these people are wolves in sheep clothing. So remember, at the end of the day, you have to always ask yourself, everyone on this internet has an agenda. You need to make sure that that agenda is going to benefit you first before them.
My brother, listen, if y'all not subscribed to Eli, what happened to Common Sense on YouTube? Go subscribe to Eli. You have to do it. Listen, thank you guys so much. I will be back next week. Listen, I am not a revolutionary. I am not your savior. I am just an extremely petty certified financial planner who does not like seeing unqualified Negroes pop up on my timeline telling people what they need to do with their money. Once again, they are habitual losers. They are unqualified Negroes. They continuously fail. Every time they fail in their personal and financial lives, but they claim they can help you for $4,997.99. Stop it. All right. This is Pocket Watching with JT, and I am out.
Need more? Book your personal consultation with my man JT at PocketWatcher.net.
Double check that. That's pretty good. Not crying, are you? Let's tighten that. Ooh. Wait, what was that? What? No, don't worry about that. Here we go.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future.
Are you qualified to do this? What?
Especially when it comes to your finances.
Do you have a question?
Are you a certified financial planner?
Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.